So you might realise I have a different hat to a minute ago in my last video, and I'm mentioning this because well, let's make it interesting. So I've got a friend who's a Satanist. I'm a Muslim. He was a bit perturbed about being introduced as a Satanist, but the reason why I mentioned the hat, Satanism, you might be thinking, what is going on? What is the connection? Okay, just to give you some background, I think this kind of background is important to how some of Speaker's Corner works, which is, we've got my friend Dust with a nice hat over there, and he gave me this hat as a leavers present because it's my last day at Speaker's Corner.
I would have got you something if I'd known it was your last day.
Oh, thank you.
If I didn't know.
So you can see, sort of, even though we'll be disagreeing about lots of things, there's a lot of love and understanding, and we could completely disagree even then. Like, we've done a live stream before when I was living on a holiday in the Middle East, in Jordan. Now I'm going to move there. This is my last day here, if I haven't said it already. And let's just get into something about Satanism. I suppose I'll give you a chance to introduce Satanism in the way you would like to, because you were a bit perturbed about being painted with a brush that might be some other version of Satanism that you might not agree with.
Yeah. So when you say Satanist, or when I would use my understanding of when I say Satanist, I would define it further by saying non-theistic Satanist. Normally when I just say, people just hear the word Satanist and that's it, they've made up their mind. I don't blame them, because you've only had one message and that's it. But to clarify it a bit more, I would say I'm a non-theistic Satanist, atheist, it all comes together really. I don't believe in a literal demon, devil, gods, superstitious, fairies, dragons, any of made up things. I don't believe in any of them.
Sure. So let's talk about, since I wasn't actually sure what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what, I did say that we were going to talk about how we can make the world a better place, is vaguely what I wanted to talk about.
I was up there speaking and you wanted to ask me questions about that, and we can do that as well, because it'll be interesting to know what you wanted to ask.
So when you were doing a little talk, but I was giving my brother a tour, and I didn't want to get stuck in one particular place, although it was very interesting, is that you were talking about essentially trying to make the world a better place against I was going to say evil, and I just mentioned the word evil and you didn't like the word evil, but let's just say the groups of people who are working together to make life a misery, a horror for so many other people. Shouldn't we try to work together to make the world a better place? And I suppose my question is, if my religion, and you forget the things that you've heard about my religion is Islam, you know that already, right? And imagine my religion was simply called a very long name, and that name was love for all and hatred for none. Imagine that was the name of my religion.
The banner on the often when I see stands, they have that on there. So that's their their message, their kind of thing. Yeah.
So that's my brand of Islam that we've been brought up with, and we use that message to undo the confusion about real Islam. Okay, so you might have also, I don't want to get into a theological discussion, is that real Islam? Is Islam really about love? I could give a quote from the Quran in one sentence that Prophet Muhammad was told, just to back it a little bit, but I don't want to get into too much. Prophet Muhammad was told, peace be upon him, he said that God says to him in the Quran, you have not been sent except to be a mercy to all of creation. All of creation. The trees included, basically. And there's all sorts of funny stories about how he was kind to trees. In fact, he's made a lot of rules about being kind to trees, which people won't know. Yeah. So just to give you an idea. Yeah. No, it's just I'm really short, and you're normal height, and I'm really short. It'll be very hard. It would ruin your legs. So unless you're good at burpees and stuff. Is it burpees? Was it squats? Squats. I don't know much about exercise either. Okay. Anyway, so if my religion is called, and you try to wipe out the idea of Islam as anything else you've heard, okay, I mean, it's a hard thing to do, but if you knew that was my belief and religion, is there any way Satanists could work with Muslims to make the world a better place? You don't have to convert to Islam, otherwise you wouldn't be a Satanist anymore. So is there any way we could work together? That's my simple thing I want to discuss briefly.
Well, there's a way we can all work together. We get rid of those labels like Muslim, Christian, all that sort of stuff, because there is something overriding all that. You would label yourself a Muslim, as you said. A Christian would label themselves a Christian. I would say Satanist for reasons I would go deeper into. But we are all human first. That overrides all of that. And as human beings, we understand, we know right from wrong. We understand, we feel empathy, we feel sympathy, we recognise things that are bad because we have a conscience. So we are capable of all working together. That bit overrides the other part of the religion that you happen to have been born in, or the religion you were forced to be part of, or the religious message you've only been given all your life. So naturally, of course, you believe it because that's all you've heard.
Sure. I mean, that's not fair to be all Muslims because you don't know the journey that all Muslims have gone on to.
No, I'm not saying that's every religious person, but that is a big part of it for a lot of people. But what overrides that, and the more important message is that we're human, and that those traits that have got us to where we are now, historically, evolutionary sense, to where we are now, those good traits are our community. That we understand we thrive when we are together. We die if we separate and go alone and get into smaller groups. We die.
I agree. So I often talk about in my happiness class. I'll keep adjusting it. You know what? Let's go really far because I'm really short and you're relatively really tall, and then we can just chill. And then there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Now I can never get out of shot, but we probably have 100 people walking past. But anyway, okay. So let's delve into a little bit because I think labels are a normal part of it, but normal part of identifying yourself in the world. Like we've got one label called Satanism. You might have other labels that represent you as well, right? Okay, and labels are not necessarily bad. Like my label would be I'm a maths teacher. Okay, this just helps us navigate the world. But I do agree with you that some people use their labels in a tribal way and say this is us, and you might have to agree. And that's where I feel like I understand where you're coming from in that sense. But do you, in an attempt to understand each other better, do you see that sometimes labels can be useful if used in a proper way without being overly tribal about it?
I guess you can. Like, it's handy to know if we were having a discussion about religion. If you said if you introduce yourself, I'm a Muslim, because and we've started out with the discussion on religion. It's cool. Well, that gives me some idea of where you are on certain things. What you think about everything to do with Islam, I don't know until we have that dialogue and that conversation. So it's kind of handy in some ways, but you have to remember that just because maybe some of their ideas fall under that, maybe what we've said is left, right, Muslim, Christian, it doesn't mean that all their ideas come under that, or they completely. Some people are like that, but not everyone.
So we can't be necessarily pigeonholed by our labels, because there are all sorts of, over here you have all sorts of crazy variety of people. Like a minute ago I just spoke to my brother and I said, I pointed as a sort of a joke, let's get closer then, it's not working, it's going to get in October, but I pointed out and said, oh, he's a Satanist, and people are like, oh my god, they shot.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's because the people need to spend more time learning from each other, listening to each other, and I hope we have loads of live streams and stuff, and building on. Really, the aim is not to win a debate, but to make the world a better place. That's where I kind of want to end. But how do you feel about that?
The more debate we have, more dialogue we have, the more we can undo those labels. Those stamps that we might want to easily put on each other. We can start to undo it. So, as I was saying, when I'm criticising. When I talk about the dangers of religion, I'm not talking about every single individual that walks around with a cross or has a Quran in their hand. I'm talking about the overwhelming sort of the big power base or the theology or the words that are in those books, because the individual wearing the cross, carrying the book, may or may not recognise or completely agree with everything in that book. There are plenty of Christians that I'll talk to. Some will acknowledge that there is slavery in the Bible, that it is pro-slavery. Then I'll do a little dance to get around it, and some will just not acknowledge it. So I can't say you're a Christian. I can go a Muslim.
And you know what? Just to help you a little bit, you'd be surprised that I'll be agreeing with you a lot, okay? Because I do think, and even in the Quran it says, do not follow the majority, otherwise you'll be led away from God's way. Meaning, don't just blindly follow a people just because they're a bigger group. Do you know what I mean? So, like in a similar way, I'm saying what I'm agreeing with you is that there are lots of Muslims, there are lots of whatever category, and they don't really understand their religion, and they do a lot of bad things in the name of that religion, like forcing people to accept their belief, even though the Quran, for example, says there should be no force in religion.
I think religion relies on force.
Okay, so
these major religions.
Okay, but let's say if we want to move forward, what I mean to say is, if I say, without making it too much of a long debate, what I mean to say is, like, if I'm saying my religion says this in black and white, and then you say no, it doesn't, I'm not. How do we move forward? What I'm saying is, there are some people, if I show them, they don't know their own book, but it's not a very long book, the Quran, right? It's about that thing. Yeah, okay. It's not like it's impossible to read through, and so I'm talking about the Muslims. They should read their own books. A lot of these people, right? And what I'm trying to say, and I won't push this some more. I'll just say it one more time. But if I'm saying my religion says you should have freedom of faith, it says it black and white in the Quran. Should you not accept that's what it says, and that maybe we should work together in teaching the other people, the other Muslims, let's say, that they should follow their own religion? At least we would move forwards in that way. But you don't have to agree. Just say whatever. You have the last word.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but I don't think. I think maybe that's
okay. No, that's okay.
Maybe that's our I'd have to think about that a bit more, really.
You know what? You don't have to have an answer. I think we could have a long, maybe years of interesting, slow...
I can't talk for literally years. I know we're both talking kind of people, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, why does... I suppose what I would say is because I like your honesty that you didn't just jump to only a conclusion. Now you're thinking about it at least. And you might stick with your belief, you might not. But it's at least we're thinking and we're talking. I suppose that's all we can do. You have the last word, because I keep saying you'll have the last. You really have the last word this time.
The only last thing I want to say, the reason I wear this especially here, but I mean I have.
What do you, just for the fun of it, to make it more entertaining? So he's got an upside down cross, and is it pentacle? What do they call that 5-star?
Pentagram.
Pentagram. Let's see if we can see it on the. It's just fun. It makes it more entertaining. An upside down cross and a pentagram, and something else like an upside down.
That's for my partner.
Oh, okay. So that's not the religion thing. And what's that thing there? Does that mean anything?
No, she got it for me, and it's kind of cool.
It feels like there's a word for it. It's like people wear black a lot and are into.
Well, like they have people that are alternative often have piercings. And,
yeah.
But I mean, you could say alternative heavy metal.
Can you just show your finger thing on the screen? I don't know. No, the other one, the crazy skull thing.
That's a skull. There's also an eyeball. There's also a peace symbol, which is cool.
Yeah.
Little skull, and then this, I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Just stick it straight into the screen. Yeah, and the other hand, please. Oh, we've got the black nails there.
There you go.
It's kind of like...
I just thought it was cool. I just quite like wearing it. But the reason I wear this, I mean, the only thing that I really change about me when I come here is I just put this t-shirt on. That's it. But it's a good little experiment, because as soon as I got on that stand to speak, it done what I always expected to do. It brought this side out of people where immediately they see this and they're threatened. But I've travelled all the way here with this T-shirt, and I haven't hurt or sacrificed or drunk any blood. I haven't hurt anyone. So
Promise?
Promise.
Joking.
So no, I drink blood later on when I get home. It's easier.
I think he's joking. You might.
But the point is that I'm just as capable of knowing right from wrong. Walking around like this as the idea to a major Abrahamic religion, I'm the idea of the opposite to them. Like, and what I love about the Satanic Temple, what they're doing in their activism and what their philosophy is, they celebrate the individual, you being an individual. However you present that, however you want to be. If you want piercings all through your face and a tattoo across your face, that's cool, because we only have one life and then we're dead. That's it. So when you live in your life, you may as well try and be yourself as much as possible, because you don't get a second go round. And I want other people to have that. And what they're fighting for, women's rights, they fight for, they champion reason, logic, rational thinking, because you don't want people living the one life they have, feeling that they have to fear this made up God, which has been a tool to control people. But so for me, it's a symbol of rebellion. I'm peacefully, non-violently rebelling against this kind of Christian world, the Abrahamic world that we're overwhelmed by, which a lot of people believe we're in, and they run the world like we're in that world. But I believe in rebelling against bad ideas.
I think that was. Thank you for summarising your worldview, and it's going to be. I think there's so many interesting topics we can hopefully continue. So I'm going to shake your hands. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, Martin.